Caitlin Bernard, the abortion doctor who performed the operation in Indiana, has a legal requirement to report the abortion to both Child Services and the state's health department because a 10-year-old isn't able to give consent and is therefore a rape victim. And from what we can find out so far, this Indiana abortion doctor has covered this up. Failure to report is nothing new, though, for Dr. Bernard. According to reporting from PJ Media, she has a history of failing to report child abuse cases. And our sources, as Trace mentioned, are telling Fox that Dr. Bernard's employer, Indiana University Health, has already filed a HIPAA violation against her. So, is a criminal charge next? And will Dr. Bernard lose her license?
That was Fox News host Jesse Waters inciting harassment against Dr. Caitlin Bernard, who provided the 10-year-old rape victim in Ohio with an abortion in the state of Indiana. Now, I'm not necessarily sure what her reason was for not reporting that, but in a current climate where Republicans are trying to prevent women from traveling to different states to obtain abortions, then perhaps this doctor thought, if I report this, then perhaps that could subject this victim's family to prosecution or criminal charges. So rather than doing that, I'm just going to not do that. I don't know what her thinking is, but it's not a stretch to think that they would want to criminalize that doctor specifically for providing that rape victim with an abortion, considering, as Peter Sullivan of The Hill reports, GOP Senator James Langford on Thursday blocked a Democratic request to unanimously pass a bill seeking to protect interstate travel for abortion. Senator Catherine Cortez Masto, joined by a string of Democratic senators, had sought consent to pass a bill that would prevent states from punishing women who travel to other states where abortion is legal to get the procedure. In other words, we have a Republican Party that is saying we are going to impose travel restrictions on women and girls so they will be unable to seek out safe and legal abortions in states that still provide them. This is barbaric, it's draconian, and let's just be real. We don't need to dance around it. The outrage isn't that Dr. Caitlin Bernard acted improperly. The outrage is that she gave that 10-year-old rape victim an abortion in the first place. They wanted that rape victim to have her rapist's baby. But don't take my word for it. Let's hear from some pro-lifers, individuals such as Jim Bopp, the top lawyer for the National Right to Life, who says that the 10-year-old rape victim should have been forced to have her rapist's baby. Quote, she would have had the baby, and as many women who have had babies as a result of rape, we would hope that she would understand the reason and ultimately the benefit of having the child. First of all, we're not talking about a woman. We're talking about a child who was the victim of rape. And they're saying here, they're admitting to everyone that they would force her to have her rapist's baby and hope that she would ultimately understand the benefits of having a child. We're talking about a little girl here. These are perverted, cruel, and barbaric monsters who are openly admitting that they think that 10-year-old rape victims should be forced to have their rapist's child. And you expect us to believe that the issue that they take with Dr. Caitlin Bernard is that she didn't properly report this, that she didn't properly follow all of the protocols? No. They don't want even rape victims who are children to have abortions. That's what this is about. That's how cruel these Republican monsters are. Now it gets worse. As this Wall Street Journal reporter explains, the Texas Attorney General is filing a lawsuit to challenge the Biden administration's guidance to perform abortions when necessary to save the lives of mothers. So understand what that means if you are a woman who votes for Republicans. The Attorney General of Texas, Ken Paxton, is saying even if the abortion is needed to save your life, we value the fetus's life over your life. We prefer that you die so the fetus can one day be born. They are psychotic, they are barbaric, and they're just saying the quiet part loud now. You know, they tried to hide the ball before and not really answer the question about whether or not they want to protect the life of the mother or whether or not they would allow victims of rape to have abortions. But now, when a child is the victim of rape, well, they're out for blood. They want to get that doctor who provided that abortion care. Now, back to that case. So they're also arguing that Indiana should not have given this 10-year-old rape victim an abortion because in Ohio it was still legal. But the problem is that there was legal gray area enough to warrant the doctor not feeling safe to give this abortion, fearing prosecution. So that's why this little girl was forced to go to Indiana. Now, back to Jesse Waters' question about whether or not the doctor will be prosecuted or lose her license. It's possible. As Politico's Maya Ward reports, the Indiana doctor who provided crucial health care to a child victim of rape is now being investigated by Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita. And in the second part of that clip that we saw from Jesse Waters' show, this Attorney General explains why he is investigating this doctor. Now, as he's going to make this case for an investigation, ask yourself this question. Is this an individual who seems to care at all about that 10-year-old rape victim, or is he just a partisan actor? Let's watch.
So what's going on, Todd?
Jesse, thanks for having me on, but I shouldn't be here, right? I mean, first of all, this is an illegal immigration issue because likely of Biden's lawlessness at the border and everything going on down there. That's why Indiana, as a non-border state, has actually filed several independent lawsuits on that. Then we have the rape, and then we have this abortion activist acting as a doctor with a history of failing to report. So we're gathering the information, we're gathering the evidence as we speak, and we're going to fight this to the end. Including looking at her licensure if she failed to report. And in Indiana, it's a crime to not report, to intentionally not report.
So what kind of a crime is it to not report a child rape to state authorities? And then tell us why it's a crime not to report.
Well, of course, because this is a child, and there's a strong public interest in understanding, you know, if someone under the age of 16 or under the age of 18, or really any woman is having an abortion in our state, and then if a child's being sexually abused, of course, parents need to know, authorities need to know, public policy experts need to know. We all need to know as citizens in a free republic so we can stop this. This is a horrible, horrible scene caused by Marxists and socialists and those in the White House who want lawlessness at the border. And then this girl was politicized for the gain of killing more babies, right? That was the goal. And this abortion activist is out there front and center. The lamestream media, the fake news is right behind it. And unfortunately in Indiana, the paper of record is fake news. And they were right there jumping in on all this, thinking that it was going to be great for their abortionist movement when this girl has been so brutalized.
It really is a tragedy. Thanks for coming on, and please keep us posted on what's going on with this abortion doctor and whether or not she's going to face any sort of scrutiny.
I'm not letting it go.
Quote, "I'm not letting it go," says this absolute cretin, this monster, this barbarian. Absolutely sick. Republicans have lost their fucking minds. But to even say that might be a little bit too charitable because I don't think they were ever sane, ever living in reality to begin with. Now, let's be absolutely crystal clear here. By Fox News showing Dr. Caitlin Bernard's face, broadcasting her name, this is stochastic terrorism. They are inciting harassment against her. And if you don't believe me, well, meet Dr. George Tiller. He was a doctor who provided abortions that became the target of Fox News in the Bill O'Reilly era. And after showing his face and name repeatedly, calling him Tiller the baby killer, well, a forced birther extremist murdered Dr. George Tiller. Now, even after he was murdered, Bill O'Reilly showed no remorse whatsoever and continued to lie about the services that Dr. Tiller provided.
As you may know, some in the left-wing press are blaming me for inciting the murder of late-term abortionist Dr. George Tiller. A domestic terrorist shot the doctor dead, and zealots say my reporting on Tiller motivated the man, even though there's absolutely no evidence of that. The accusers object to my using the term Tiller the baby killer, which was the doctor's well-known nickname, which is in context because the state of Kansas has produced compelling evidence that Tiller sometimes terminated viable fetuses for trivial reasons, and the process was brutal. Even Barbara Walters, whom we respect, cannot bring herself to acknowledge the truth.
You know, we are fond of Bill, we argue with Bill, we think,
Fine.
but I think to use the word baby killer, I wish that Bill hadn't. I wish he could have expressed his opinion in a different way.
Now, to be fair to Miss Walters, we called her up and asked how she would describe Tiller. She told us she'd call him a late-term abortion doctor. But that doesn't tell the story, does it? We're talking about a man who destroyed late-term fetuses who could live out of the womb for casual reasons. The truth often hurts, especially when an ideological media tries to hide it.
Not much has changed, right? Now we have Jesse Waters doing the same thing. Now, when he says that George Tiller was providing women with late-term abortions for casual reasons, he's lying. Yes, it was the case that Dr. Tiller would provide women with third trimester abortions, but these were not for casual reasons. These were people who wanted to have children that mourned the loss of their child, but they learned that there was substantial fetal defects. These fetuses were missing parts of their brain and skulls. If they were able to survive, they would not have a very high quality of life. It would be a miserable existence. So these people went to George Tiller distraught, and he would do what was necessary. He would carry out their choice, and he would rub their backs. He would offer emotional services to walk them through it as they were grieving the loss of this fetus that they wanted to be one day their child. It wasn't something that he just flippantly did for them. They didn't just like change their mind and say, okay, you know what, we're in the third trimester, but I don't want it anymore. They wanted the baby, but he did what was necessary. I mean, would you say that doctors who pull the plug on patients on life support are killers? I mean, it's a dirty, gruesome job, but somebody's got to do it, right? I don't have the stomach to do it. When they pulled the plug on my dad after they told us that he wasn't going to come back, I couldn't be in the room. But yet, some nurse or doctor did what was necessary. So Dr. Tiller was a healthcare provider for women who did something that was really difficult. He helped them. And he was murdered. And then still, after he was murdered, Bill O'Reilly showed no remorse whatsoever. Made it seem as if, that was justified because murdering him would save more lives. It was a utilitarian calculation, apparently. And so we're in the same situation today where Fox News is using the same playbook that got abortion doctors murdered, broadcasting their face and name, subjecting them to harassment and potentially violence. And we're talking about a doctor who performed an abortion on a 10-year-old rape victim. This is how barbaric the modern-day Republican Party and media apparatus for conservatives is. It is morally reprehensible, and if you are somebody who has oftentimes voted Republican, maybe you might want to rethink that, considering how fucking barbaric they're openly being. Is this what you believe in? That 10-year-old rape victims should be forced to have their rapist's baby? That women who are going to die if they don't get an abortion should die because the life of the fetus is somehow more valuable than the mother? I'm not saying that the mother can't choose to die so that fetus can one day become a child. I'm saying that we give women the fucking choice. But these barbarians are saying, nope, no choice for the women. This is what we want. You got an ectopic pregnancy, which has a 0% chance of resulting in a viable fetus. Not acceptable. Life of the mother in danger. Too bad. The fetus comes first. 10-year-old rape victim. Well, I hope that maybe she could see the benefits of becoming a mother at the age of 10. They are sick. They are perverted barbarians. And we have to fight back by every means necessary. This means that the Biden administration should be putting abortion clinics on federal property. This means that however we can get abortion pills to women in red states, we have to do that. There has to be a network to assist these women in these circumstances because this cannot stand. This is totally unacceptable in modern America. And this is going to lead to not just women dying, but abortion providers being threatened, being at higher risk than they already were of physical violence because these Republicans, they're not going to stop at overturning Roe v. Wade. They're going to punish people who seek abortions, including victims of rape. Truly fucking disgusting.